What is up, my nerds? Welcome back to another episode of The Nerdy Mind. I have Jason on the podcast today. What is going on, Jason? How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Hanging in.
Yeah, as we all do, right? As we all do. As you can tell, guys, I have a new setup in the background. Well, it's not really new, but it's a little more added to the setup. If you've watched the gaming channel, you probably have already seen it, but this is probably the first look on the podcast. So get a little things out there, a little back there. I like having filled walls. I was tired of looking at a blank space and not really representing that I am a nerd, but just because you see it doesn't mean I can't speak it. Something that's really interesting that has been floating the internet, Jason, is Apple's new Apple Vision Pros. I have an Oculus Quest 2. I love the Oculus. It is definitely VR, I would say, is definitely like a niche-y thing.
Yeah.
It is fun to play. I remember playing for the first time. I thought it was like the most immaculate thing I've ever seen in my life.
So back in college, I had an Oculus Rift, one of the early Oculus Rifts. So I had to like plug it into my computer, and it only works with a computer. So I was VR gaming back then, and if you compare the screen quality, it was like looking through like a mesh, like front door screen or something. It was horrible. And then I have the Quest, and I think that's awesome too. I think it's an interesting choice that Apple's kind of approaching this, but also it's like a augmented reality kind of thing, AR instead of VR. So there's like a pass-through screen and stuff. It's interesting.
What's also weird about it is that I don't know if you read much into it or seen people kind of like talking about it. It's not even like games are not even going to be on it. Essentially, it's just like having a phone on your face.
Yeah.
Or a computer.
Some of the things that I had heard was basically Apple is boasting that like this can replace like your TV, your laptop, your phone, because like you can sit down on the couch and watch, like your blank wall in your living room. If you put this on, you can watch TV on that blank wall and stuff, which is interesting. But at the same time, I can watch Netflix, Hulu, whatever the case, on my Oculus Quest. It's just a thing hanging on my face that, basically makes me feel like I'm in a movie theater or in a living room watching something. So like I get what they're saying, but at the same time, I would rather sit in front of my TV than put a thing on my face. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's very bold. I understand Apple kind of wants to get into the realm of like the VR, AR stuff. Do I think technology is at the point of like a Ready Player One type of augmented reality type of thing? No, not at all. I don't think we'll even be there maybe in the next 5 years. That being said, too, like you were saying, they're trying to say you can replace it with your TV. Okay, TVs these days cost a decent TV. Let's just say 4K TV, like now, cost maybe $700 to $1,000. A decent one.
Mm-hmm.
This headset is at a price tag of $34.99. That's a pretty big price tag and pretty, I would say, whoever is in their marketing team at Apple, they definitely got some balls, in my opinion, to really think like, hey, we're going to list this thing at this price. I get it. There's a lot of cameras. There's LiDAR in it to track your eyes and all that stuff. I get there's a lot of big technology. But like you said, I can go buy my Quest 2 at Best Buy for $400.
Yeah.
Pop Netflix on it.
Yeah.
Feel like I'm in a theater, blah, blah, blah. And kind of get the same experience.
Right. I get the whole approach to it. And like, I'm obviously like, I get really, nerdy when it comes to tech. And so like, this screen being able to be like an AR screen where you can literally like, if you walked in the room and looked at me, you can see my eyes, you can see my face while I'm wearing this thing. And so like, I can see through it and see you like, but I can also see the stuff that's on the screen. That's awesome. But it's just one of those Apple moves where like, it was like the iMac Pro when it came out, and it was just like super expensive. And they came out with a monitor for it that was just way overpriced. And like everything
Mhm.
about it was just like, who's going to buy this? Like the average consumer is not going to buy it. And even someone who's like an enthusiast isn't going to buy it because it's just too expensive. I get they're trying to get into this realm, but it might have made more sense to go with like a more approachable, price point or something. Even if it was like
Yeah.
1,000, like some people
Yeah.
might buy it, but it's way up there.
Even the Meta Quest Pro is like $1,000.
Mhm.
And what's crazy is that from what I've seen is that like how the video is actually very misleading. So you know how like you're looking through it almost like and someone appears into your vision
Mhm.
and you can see them and they can see your eyes.
Mhm.
Apparently that's not truly what it is.
Mhm.
Apparently the front is a screen. So the cameras just show they record your eyes on what they look like to the person. So they're not actually illuminating open for them to see.
See, that's what I like from the review I had seen. Somebody was saying that it looks like as if it's like a pass through screen, like the technology they're using. So that's interesting. Regardless, though, even if it is some new tech, some new screen that has all these capabilities, what feasible purpose is there to that? Where like we were saying with the Quest has pass through, where it's like again it's black and white, it's grayed out, but I can double tap the side of my headset and just see everything that's going on. I can see the people in the room with me, can have a conversation with someone with this thing on my face. They can't see my eyes, but I'm very clearly wearing a headset, so regardless of if you can see my eyes or not, it's still kind of the same, same approach. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's kind of bold too. Like I was saying, like if they're really marketing this, you can replace your TV with this. I don't know. Like for me personally, I like sitting on the couch with my wife, like next to her, watching a screen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to have something on my face. I mean, and you probably know, like as you play like the Quest for a while, having all the screen in your like right in your face, and then honestly the headset gets really like sweaty and foggy,
and it gets a little front heavy too over time. Yeah,
and then you end up have to take it off because you get fatigued. I don't know. I don't see. Again, maybe this product isn't for me. Maybe like the problem is, with this price point, people are going to buy it. I have a feeling people are going to buy it.
So I would say to take a step back with Apple products, with any product in general, I might not be the target audience for something, but most of the time, even if you're not part of the target audience, you can feasibly think of who the target audience might be. This is more geared for people who are programmers. This is more geared for people who have a lot of disposable income, whatever. But like, I just don't like, is it for the single person with tons of money? Because like, again, like you said, I want to sit down and watch TV with anybody else, watch a movie with literally anybody else. And I don't have a TV and I'm trying to use this thing as like my TV. I can't do that. Are they going to sit down with another $3,000 headset next to me to watch a TV at the same time when we could just have like a $200, $300 TV, very bare bones just on the wall? Like it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So Jason, when it comes out, come over to my house and we'll just sit on the couch and you bring your headset.
Yeah.
I'll bring mine and we'll watch Lord of the Rings together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a good use of time and money. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, like you're saying, I feel like Apple maybe is missing the mark on who their demographic is, the average consumer.
Right.
As anything in life, I feel like companies forget that the average consumer, median household incomes buying their products, not like the super rich. Again, I don't see myself buying this, but it also is kind of bold of them to like, with launching this thing, they're not going to have games on it. They're only going to have your basic stuff, their basic Apple apps, and that's kind of a bold thing for that too, because then people might like wait for like third party people to create games and stuff like that before they buy it.
If Apple promises to come out with games, they say there's no games right now, but we're going to come out with that. How many people are going to buy this headset waiting for Apple to come out with games, and then it's just like Doodle Jump, or like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
something where it's just like, I could play this on my phone. Why am I playing this on a $3,000 headset? Doesn't make any sense. You know, and like you said, you know, third party could come in and make this more gamer friendly. But Apple's history is they don't like other people messing with their products. So like, what are you gonna have to jailbreak a $3,000 headset? What if there's a malfunction and you want to bring it back to Apple and it's jailbroken now? They won't help you. Like, there's so much to consider here.
Yeah, and I won't go on and on about it, but it's just it how what in our lives does this really like fix?
Mhm.
You know, like the phone, the smartphone was a great idea because then we can have a computer in our pocket anywhere we go to get instant access on information. Great. For gamers, VR was a revolutionary thing because then we can actually experience like being immersed into a game.
Yeah.
This thing is like it's supposed to replace your TV. It's going to replace your phone or whatever. Like I don't know. I just don't see it being like that type of thing to where everyone's going to run to the store to buy because it's going to make their lives easier.
Right.
It's just interesting.
And again, it's like, it's at the end of the day, like you said, you know, even if it has fans or anything built into it, like regardless of any kind of features this thing might have, like you're going to want to take it off every so often. We're not at that Ready Player One type, you know, society where like people just wear these things for like the whole day. Because I could see, you know, you're sitting at like, you got a desk, you know, a nice desk that you bought. You might not have put a ton of money into it, but now that you have this headset, you don't need to have, you know, like a actual computer and an actual monitor maybe, and you have a keyboard and mouse connected to it or something, and now you got 3-4 monitors that you can use for productivity. Like, I could see, you know, something like that being the case, and that could be a good use for that. But when my eyes feel fatigued, I can rub my eyes right now and then go back to working on my monitors. I don't want to take off the entire headset and then now my monitors disappear and stuff. Like, it just, I don't know. I don't know if I want to sit with a headset on my face for 8 hours to do work. You know, it just, I don't know.
Yeah. And especially like they're like, well, you can text on it and you can do all this stuff, but like they don't really. I mean, if you really want to have a private conversation, you just pull out your phone and, you know, type on the keyboard real quick. There, you have to actually use voice dictation and everything, and people are going to hear your conversations and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You know, Apple, great, cool. It looks cool.
Yeah,
I give them that. It looks cool,
and it's probably got top, you know, state of the art technology within it. You know, I wouldn't doubt it.
I from what I read, it's got like an M1 chip in it, and then it's got like an M2 chip as well for I think like
there's two
memory
chips.
or RAM or something like that. And has tons of cameras, and like I said, it has LiDAR for tracking and everything. I get it. You know, they're putting a lot of cool technology into this thing. I'm just not the one for it. Like I said, I bought my Oculus Quest. I played it for maybe about a month. Was playing a bunch of stuff on that game, and with me having Steam now, I might break it out a little bit more to like play some different stuff. But I think the VR stuff is definitely like a nichey thing, and it might not be for me. But good luck on you, Apple, when it comes out. I hope you get what you want out of it.
Yeah, I mean, and but, you know, for long term, maybe this leads to something better. Maybe this leads to something for gamers. Who knows? You know, but
yeah,
we can only hope for success.
yeah, like we were talking about, like watching stuff like on the VR and stuff like that. Have you watched The Witcher at all? Like, have you watched the Witcher series?
Yeah, I'm up to date on The Witcher.
Okay, well, we are coming to a close soon. Yeah. Witcher Season 3 is coming out June 29th. So what's today? Today is the 11th, I think. So we have a couple more weeks. Then it's coming out, and Henry Cavill will show his face. This is the last season. And then we're going to have... what's the brother? I
think it's Liam Hemsworth is going to be the replacement. Okay.
Yeah. How do you... Okay. Okay. Let me get your thoughts, and then I'll talk to you about what I think.
So, to approach this probably in the best way possible for me, Henry Cavill is awesome. All right, so I don't have there's no hate for Liam Hemsworth. There's no hate for even, the directors or whoever, whatever the case was for Henry Cavill leaving, because I've heard a lot of things about
Yes,
it.
but
But
yeah.
Henry Cavill is a nerd. That was the coolest thing to find out, over time. It's
Yeah.
like you see, the first couple things you see him in, he's this big buff dude playing Superman, playing something. You're like, wow, this guy's like, he's jacked, he's, whatever. But like when you start finding out things, like you hear an interview and it's like, oh yeah, I play World of Warcraft all the time. I was super addicted to it to the point where I missed
Mhm.
almost missed an opportunity from, starring in a movie. And you're like, what? Oh, I play
Yeah.
Warhammer 40K. Like that's one of the nerdiest games you can play. I'm
Mhm.
like, whoa, like there's all this stuff. He's a
Yeah.
PC gamer. He played The Witcher, and that's one of the things. He read
Yeah.
the books, he played the games. He was so into it that like when he got this role to play Geralt in The Witcher, I'm like, there's nobody better. Somebody who like fits the profile, who can like
Yeah.
pull this off as being him, but also has all this background playing the games, reading the books. He knows how to act as this person. Because
Yeah.
no hate to actors, but like they're not always known for getting a very thorough background on the character they're playing. If it's from a TV
Yeah.
series or like a book series or a cartoon or whatever it is that they're playing live action, they might not have a lot of experience with it. They're just kind of going off of what they've been told, some research. But the fact that he has all these hours playing this game, all this stuff, like this was the person to play this character. And now to see him leaving and we're getting someone else, and I'm not sure if Liam Hemsworth has that background. I'm not sure if he's a nerd in any sense. So like that's not a requirement to play, a character in a show.
Yeah.
But like it was just so cool to know that Geralt had, was being played by this guy who had all this knowledge.
Yeah, and to add on to what you're saying, to reiterate, Henry Cavill being like a really good looking man, and men want to be him, women love him,
Mm-hmm.
and come to find out, like this good looking dude who's buff, who plays all these big guy, like
Yeah.
strong characters, and he's like, yeah, I'm actually a huge nerd,
Yeah.
and I'm not like your typical dude, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, and
you're like,
especially because like there's so many actors and people nowadays that are like, oh yeah, I'm really nerdy. I like to watch movies and I like to like play video games. It's like, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. But like,
yeah.
when he says like I play Warhammer 40K, it's like tabletop with miniatures and stuff. It's like, oh, you're like actually a nerd. That's awesome. Like,
and you see him building a PC. Like he has videos of him building a PC while he is on his downtime, and then he's on an interview and he's like talking about like he's like literally that he's talking about Warhammer 40K.
And then the guy
He's like,
it.
oh, what are you playing as? Cyclones? Oh yeah, me too.
It's
Like,
oh, I might have to. Yeah, we after this we definitely gotta like play. It's like
yeah, and
what?
then he was talking about the Witcher. Like he was talking about like when like he was on set. He was like, I was the most annoying person on set.
Yeah,
because he's like, this is not how it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Blah blah blah. And people were like, Henry, just do it. And he's like, no,
yeah,
I'm not gonna. He's like,
and
he's like, I'm telling you, people who love this stuff are gonna pick you apart if you do not do it.
And it's one of those things where when you're coming from a book, or basically any medium to another, if it's a book to a movie or TV show, video game, whatever the case, you're gonna have to adapt because you can't always portray everything the same way it happened. Like if you're doing a like Harry Potter, for instance, like not everything in the movies is exactly how it happens in the book because you can't always portray it the exact same way. It doesn't work. So I get like, oh, well, Geralt can't quite do this in the TV show because we don't have the means to, do this whole background, or we don't have the means to make this monster or whatever the case. But like, if the guy who has all of this time playing the games, reading the books, is telling you this is not how this should go, I get the director might be in charge, but he should definitely be listening because this guy is the target audience for this show. Even though he's in it, like everybody like him who has his background is who you're trying to please. It's for the general public, but you're really kind of narrowing in on a niche too. Like people who really love The Witcher from the games, from the books and stuff are really going to be harping on you when you do something wrong.
Yeah, and that's like knowing that Henry Cavill's a huge nerd. That's why I got like really excited. I talk about this all the time.
Mhm.
Got really excited for James Gunn to take over DC's creative side.
Yeah.
Because James Gunn talks about, yeah, I'm a huge nerd. Like
Mhm.
I love these. I read DC comics. I read the Marvel comics. I did all this. I know a lot about these characters. So when like he comes out and says like, oh no, I know how we're gonna create these characters and storylines and stuff like that. Like it makes you excited for like someone who's a nerd makes it up high up in the ranks
Yeah.
of these like executive roles, and you're like, all right, cool. We're finally gonna get what we really want, and it's
Right.
gonna be good.
Mhm.
So nothing against Liam, but I hope he knows that he's coming into a role with big shoes.
Yeah.
Big shoes. And it may not be as receptive as he thinks.
Right,
And I hope he
And it's again, it's not to like doom him going into this, because he
Mhm.
could play a great character. You know, like he could
Mhm.
really fill out this character, and you know, in a good way. But like, it's just, if I could impart any kind of advice to him, you know, I'm nobody to be giving advice to, you know, a movie star or a director or anything. But like,
yeah.
as somebody who's going to be enjoying this show or not enjoying this show, I would just tell him, like, do your research. You know, like, don't just read up on this from what they sent you. Like, try playing the game. You know, even if you're not a gamer,
Mhm.
try playing the game a little bit. If you don't want to read all the books, like, just get a feeling for, you know, what world you're stepping into, so that you
Mhm.
actually do a good job. You know, if you just, oh, I watched the TV series, I watched how Henry Cavill did it, I'm just going to do that. Like, that's good, but you know, you're not really understanding how, you know, a Witcher would approach a situation. You're just seeing, what did Henry Cavill do on screen, and I'm just going to try to mimic that the best I can. That's not always the best way to go. So I don't know. It just, you know, you don't have to be a big nerd. You don't have to be exactly who Henry Cavill is. But if Liam's stepping into this, he should get some kind of background knowledge if he doesn't already have it. You know?
Yeah, and this is the theory. One of the I guess side theories of why Henry Cavill is not going to be in the this will be his last season, is like they were taking like executive power, like writing. They were like straying away from the actual story,
Mhm.
and Henry, being who he is and being vocal about it, he's
Right.
like, we shouldn't do this, blah blah blah. And if you do, then I don't really want to be a part of it, because it's not like, it isn't going to be
Right.
what we
Yeah.
created. And at that point, this is just me being me. If you really are going a completely like you're on this linearly path of the story,
Mhm.
and you're just going to divert and go right, then you might as well just kill him off.
Yeah.
You know, this will be his last season. Okay, he dies, and then then you have a new Witcher, and
No,
that's
so
where
I have not done a lot of background into this. Like, I knew Liam Hemsworth is stepping in and stuff, but he's playing Geralt? Like, is he?
Yeah.
I don't see, like,
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
I
get
have to
that.
agree with you. Is like, you know, maybe from all the stories and from everything, you don't want to just be like, Geralt, this great Witcher who's been in countless situations, who's fought, you know, all this stuff. Like, he just dies. Like, maybe he just goes off with Yennefer, or goes off with someone, and he's off on a different adventure or something, you know?
Right.
And like, Liam is just another Witcher that gets drawn into the mix, that gets, you know, like a spotlight on him for some reason. Like, you know, it's just something. Like,
Yeah.
it might not be the enjoyable, I want to watch Geralt on screen, but it's like, again, this is, I don't know if this is how it would go, but to like make a comparison, it's like you're watching the Harry Potter movies, right? And like, they get with Daniel Radcliffe in like the, you know, second to last movie, and they're like, so Harry's just gonna learn how to use, you know, an AR-15, and he's just gonna, you know, just take out Voldemort with, you know, heavy weaponry or something. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
if I was Daniel Radcliffe, I would just be like, no, like, if you're gonna do that, I'm just not gonna be in this movie anymore. You know, like, what are they gonna do? Just take him, who's been in all these movies, and just replace him with some random other person? Like, put Jason in there.
Right.
He looks like him, and he'll just do the thing. It's like, nobody wants to see that. You know, you're attached to this character. Like, yes, you know, Henry Cavill hasn't been playing Geralt for, you know, 15 years or something, but like,
no, but
it's not the same.
He's been there from it's season 3, but from when season 1 and you see the first scene of him coming out of the water slaying that monster, you're like, okay, this is the tone of the show. And seeing him as Geralt, like, you're like, okay, I believe it.
Yeah.
And like his fighting and his build and just his overall voice and how his brooding and his attitude, he has it. He just has it because he knows how the character is.
Yeah. And
then for them to just be like, oh, anyone can play Geralt. Anyone can do it. So we don't need Henry Cavill. We're just going to hire Liam.
Yeah.
And Liam's going to come in playing Geralt, who's, again, nothing against him. I'm sure Liam's fine as an actor, but like him to come in as a skinnier, I don't know if he's working out to kind of build up like into like form for Geralt, but like him to be Geralt as well, it's just going to throw me off.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
It's you know, there are certain roles that are meant to like be a change of cast, like James Bond. You know, it's been going on for so long, but like after the first couple times that the actor changed, it just became a thing that like you're not like you're attached to the character you're watching as James Bond, but you know in a couple of years they might replace him with someone else, and you're excited to see who else might reprise the role and like how they might change it because it's an interesting concept. It was something like this. It's not supposed to be that way. You're not making endless seasons of this show. It's just supposed to be a storyline that you're following from a book, from a game, whatever portion you want to do, the whole story, a portion of the story. You're not just making it up as you go. You're adapting this from an actual story that's been written already. You know, it's like, why are you replacing the cast? You know,
it's like the Batman trilogy, you know, the Dark Knight trilogy. You know, like they replace Christian Bale like midway through the Dark Knight, and then they have another character. Then you're like, or waiting until you know oh shit, I forget the last movie. What was it? The Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight Returns. Yeah. So then like in Dark Knight Returns, it's not Christian Bale; it's just some other guy, and he's supposed to like pick up where Christian Bale left off. I would be like, what the hell is this?
No, like, it's like
I don't want to finish it.
You know, like Rhodey in you know the Marvel and the Iron Man series, like they had an actor and then they just replaced him from movie 1 to movie 2, and you're not supposed to notice that. But then for everything on, you know, you got Don Cheadle and he's the same character from everything from there. I was a little bit annoyed because I liked, you know, I liked the other actor as well, and I was like, why they got to replace him? I didn't know what happened. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, whatever. You know, maybe he just didn't want to be in this long spanning thing or be tied to Marvel, whatever the case. But like, it was kind of weird, but you just get over it because now there's like 5 movies with War Machine in it, and it's always played by Don Cheadle. Okay, sure, whatever. Yeah. If you had Henry Cavill for like 2 or 3 episodes and then they just swapped it to Liam Hemsworth, I'd be like annoyed. But then the whole rest of the seasons are all just Liam Hemsworth. I just get used to it. But you've been attached to Henry Cavill as this character, and now they're going to replace him. It's like, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it being super successful. I might be, I might be surprised. I might watch it. We could be
wrong. Yeah. We could be completely wrong. Oh, yeah. And all I know is that season 3, it's a 2-parter of the season 3. The first 5 episodes are coming out on June 29th. It kind of sucks that we're getting a 2-parter. It also makes me feel weird that they're doing a 2-parter. I don't know why they're doing that. Are they trying to drag it out so that way you can just kind of like, it's a bittersweet moment, you know, signing off for Henry Cavill? I don't know. But the first 5 episodes, June 29th, and then the second half is July 27th. So we're going to have to wait another like almost a month for the next half of that season to come out. And then we'll just wait and see how they end it, and then see if season 4, how they're going to pick up from there. But I don't want to, I don't want to beat a dead horse. You know, we'll wait to see. Let's not.
You know, again, we could be completely surprised. This might be them going back in time to when, you know, Geralt was first becoming a Witcher, and Liam Hemsworth is younger, and they're, you know, he's going to be playing Geralt as a younger version or something. Maybe, you know,
that's
maybe
a good idea. That's a cool idea.
And maybe they did it completely the opposite way, and they're just pretending nobody notices or something. You know, who knows? It could be good. It could be horrible. We'll see. We'll just have to find out.
So like, talking about how we're nervous of The Witcher. Maybe look, it's almost like a reboot. You know, the one thing that I am excited for the reboot though is Avatar.
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender live action.
Mhm.
I love the cartoon. I still watch the cartoon. Have it on
Same.
Blu-ray. It's
occasionally
a great
watch
series.
Legend of Korra, but mostly Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
You know,
You know what's crazy? I never really got into Korra, Legend of Korra.
It's interesting. I still prefer The Last Airbender over it for sure, but it's an interesting thing to see how Aang got older and stuff. You know, just some interesting stuff. Whatever. But
yeah, we did get a live action movie of the Last Airbender. We won't really talk about that.
No, we did not. We didn't get one of those. Don't. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is the first adaptation of
first live action adaptation ever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm super excited though. I've seen the cast. The cast looks very diverse and interesting. It looks like they're trying to go for like the right ages of the characters. Yeah, because like Aang definitely looks like he's definitely a young actor.
Yep.
Sokka and Katara are a little older because if I remember correctly, Aang was 12, right? Aang was like young. 12 and like Sokka.
Yeah, he's like somewhere around like 12, like 100 something, 112.
yeah, he's like in there,
Yeah, 12, somewhere in that age range.
112 years old, you know?
Yeah. But he is supposed to be like 12, 13. He's supposed to be younger. And he's definitely supposed to be younger than Katara and Sokka, but yeah. And they are sticking more true to, again, the show is not supposed to be based in our world, so there is no technically ethnicities or anything being actually portrayed on screen, but the casting that they're doing almost seems like they are creating groups within within the different nations and stuff, which is cool. Which, if they were to ever have tried to make a live action movie or something in the past, which they didn't, but if they ever did try to do that and they tried to approach it that way, they didn't do a great job. But this looks like they're going to do a good job with casting that way. So I'm
and
excited.
a lot of the Fire Nation members are definitely well known actors too who are playing like Uncle Iroh is definitely a character I recognize.
I'm
General
horrible
Zhao,
with names, but
General Zhao.
But when I was scrolling through, I definitely saw a bunch of
is an actor
faces.
I recognize.
Mostly within the Fire Nation.
A lot of the younger cast I have never seen before.
No,
so this could be their first time acting.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I am really excited to see what Netflix can do, because when Netflix, I can at least say this. So Netflix is hit or miss sometimes, but when they actually put a lot of money into something, it generally it hits pretty good. I mean, look at The Witcher.
There's like you said, it's always hit or miss. So like when The Witcher was coming out, I was like, should I be excited? Should I just be like really angry that they're going to mess something up? But again, like knowing the amount of money they put into it, the people they were, casting, I was like, okay, this might actually be pretty good. So in the same way, like you said, all this money they're putting into this, the entire cast, like seeing that cast list, there's a lot of people popping up there that I'm like, okay, so they already thought out who's going to play everybody, so like they're doing their research. They've got people picked out. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful it'll be good.
If I read correctly, I think they actually have the writer from Nickelodeon, the two guys who wrote the actual series.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be executives on the show.
I think I heard that too. Yeah.
Which is great, because I want them to actually follow the story of the show.
Yeah.
Follow it. It's already been written for you. You don't have to worry about.
And again, like when you're going from one medium to another, cartoon to real life, it is hard to portray the same kind of stuff. Hopping on a glider and flying off, like it might not look the same. They might avoid certain things that were very common. But if they have people, again, like you said, like the writers of the show, I'm hopeful that they're going to take the right approaches and adapting it to a live action scenario.
I mean, all they really have to get right for us fans as a young kids now into our adulthood to get right, just get the bending right. Being able to have them do fire bending, air bending, and all that perfectly. If they're going to spend any money on CGI, get Appa, Momo, and the bending correctly, and then we're fine. you know?
I think the only thing we're actually going to be concerned with, none of that. Just Sokka's terrible jokes. That's the only thing to make us all happy. Is just Sokka telling these horrible jokes
I
that he thinks are hilarious.
Sokka's hilarious. Sokka's jokes are hilarious.
Oh, they're always funny. But yeah, no, for sure the CGI for like Appa, Momo. Oh my gosh, if they mess up like Momo and he's this weird thing that's like always on Aang's shoulder, it's just gonna mess with me. So like I really do hope that they put a little bit into those.
Yeah. Take a like a picture of a real lemur and like just give him wings at that point. Like just give him like little
something. You gotta get big ears.
Which I'm very excited because I love the comedic relief of Momo in the show, so they really gotta get this correct. Because without Momo and Appa, you really don't have The Last Airbender. So
yeah.
Who's your favorite character of the show?
Oh man. Well, what I will say, the show as a whole does a really good job with like character development. So if I had to pick like my favorite character overall, just on like who they are and who they become, man, Prince Zuko, I want to say is an amazing transformation from like the beginning, because you just don't like him for the whole beginning of the show. You're just like, can this guy just leave? Can he leave him alone? And like, I love Aang. Airbending was always like, if I had to be a bender, or if I could be a bender in this world and have the ability to pick one of those, it would be airbending for me all the way. So like seeing Aang doing airbending all the time, loved it. But like by the end of the show, Prince Zuko is definitely one of my favorites. Actually, I changed my answer. Uncle Iroh, favorite character, hands down. He's awesome. Okay. But in terms of character development, definitely Zuko.
I mean, I'll give you this. Kind of going off what you said. So I either had a toss up between the bending, I had a toss up between an airbender or a firebender. I either wanted to be either one of those because they had the coolest things.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, waterbending had cool, like you could blood bend, you could do like certain things, and then like they all had cool things they could do. Like earthbenders could like wear rocks as like armor and stuff like that. Was pretty cool. But Aang being able to fly and do like the little orb scooter thing, and then being able to do all the cool stuff with airbending.
Not to go too deep down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's
what we do here.
Yeah. Well, the fact that these different bending styles, like there's similarities between each of them, but like there's constant similarities in different ways. Like the blocky movements that like the earthbenders and firebenders do, where it's like a punch, a kick, versus like the fluid motions of waterbending and airbending. Like those are differences. But then you think about like the way in which, these people are attacking and stuff, and you could see similarities between like, airbending and firebending, where like water and earth are similar. And it's just constant similarities and differences that just make it so cool the way they approached it all, that it's hard to pick a favorite. It's hard to, whatever, but
I mean, obviously the show, the creator of the show, he definitely did really well to like get them all cool attributes.
Yeah.
Uncle Iroh definitely was a unsung hero of mine. I love his character. I love what he stood for. It was great. But mine.
Wait, let me guess. Your favorite character was King Boomy. That was your favorite character.
I mean, King Boomy's pretty funny, dude.
He's awesome.
King Boomy's hilarious, dude. I mean,
sorry. I didn't want to cut you off there, but
no, when they bring King Boomy in there and he starts doing his jokes and stuff like that, I'm like, that's hilarious. But no, it was definitely between Zuko and Sokka, honestly. Seeing Sokka from a little tribe, kid, and then like going out on his own, learning how to fight because he sucked at first how to fight, like didn't really know how to fight.
Yeah, I mean,
and then finally getting a master, to train him, and he became amazing swordsman. And then not only that, he became an amazing swordsman he finally learned how to fight, and then because he already had the brains, like he was smart. Yeah. And then just seeing him being just a well-rounded person, seeing his growth at the end was really amazing. Yeah. And then also, I agree with Zuko, with him having the turmoil of wanting to be the prince of the nation, but then also not wanting to kind of do his dad's bidding anymore.
Right, because the series is known for like all the topics they cover, like from like like refugees, to like political,
genocide,
to genocide, like everything. And so like this kind of abusive relationship between a father and son, and like Zuko constantly trying to make his father proud of him, even though his father will never be proud of him. Regardless of if Zuko came back with Aang, 2 days into his hunt, his father would never be proud of him. And like Zuko going on this long journey and then becoming his own person, realizing that he does not need to be his father, doesn't need to be accepted by his father. He doesn't need to, worry about what his father thinks. It's this whole long thing, but it's really deep, and it's a lot of character development there.
You know what character I'm actually scared to see them do an adaptation on? Is Azula.
Oh man, yeah.
Dude, Azula is going to be very interesting in live action form.
It's just one of those things where like in modern day, it's hard to, portray someone with any kind of like mental instability, stuff like that, just because you don't want to be disrespectful. You don't want to just be like, this person's crazy, let's all hate them. But just from this show, Azula is just insane, and you have to hate her. You do pity her at times, just because of,
especially at the end. End.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's just like you just have to hate her because she's just so full of like hate and volatility that it's just like you can't have any kind of sympathy for her. And then as the show progresses, you're just like, I pity you.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And like what's crazy is like at the beginning you really do hate her because like you could see even from like a small child of how like sadistic she was.
Yeah, just like
and like it's not like her mom didn't love her either.
No,
like she did. She loved her as much as she loved Zuko, but her mom could tell like how like she was, and like she was like
because she could see her husband in her daughter, and she knew who her husband was and what he would be and what he would do. And seeing her daughter be that way, like she still loves her children, but like just knowing her daughter is taking after this horrible man, it's hard,
And then like you see when Zuko finally like comes back to be part of the family, I guess, and he's accepted back in, and then you kind of see Azula and them kind of like bonding a little bit.
Yeah.
And like you kind of see a different side of Azula where she's like, Mom, my mom thought I was a monster, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you feel bad because then you're like, yeah, maybe she's dealing with some shit because, her mom maybe kept her at a distance and she didn't feel as loved as she did towards Zuko. But, I mean, then she's like, then you see like the real side. Then she's like, she was absolutely correct, but it still hurt and stuff like that. And then seeing her at the end where she's completely just torn apart.
She's like deranged at the end, where it's like it's gone from like I want to be this horrible person to make my father proud because I can be this horrible person. Like Zuko always has this goodness in him somewhere that he questions things, and that's why he can't be his father. But Azula can be that horrible person, and just seeing her by the end go from like I want to be like my dad and be horrible to just like I'm a mindless animal and I'm just attacking out of just pure anger and nothing else. It's like you just have to feel bad for her. So like you said, after going down that whole rabbit hole, like you said, it will be interesting to see her adapted on screen as an actual physical manifestation.
Yeah, I mean, because like all I can think of is like, if you watch any horror movie of like a person who like, there was this one movie where I think it's a Stephen King book, but where it's like the Beast or whatever. His nickname is the Beast or something, and he can like he has multiple personality disorder or something, and he's able to like just transform.
Oh, are you talking about Split?
Yeah, Split,
the guy with It's not Stephen King. It's M. Night Shyamalan. But M.
Night Shyamalan. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, it reminds me of that, like how he like kidnaps, like how he's able to manipulate people
Yeah.
And like you see like in like movies like that where like they're able to manipulate people and do and you see that like how they act and it makes you feel weird, like really eerie.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna get. I had the feeling with like Azula is
Yeah,
like
and
you could tell like
that's
she's
what I
sadistic.
want. Yeah, that's what I want out of a character playing Azula is like I want to feel uneasy where like this person might look normal, but I'm just like if I was in a room with them, I'd just be scared. Like I'd just be like nervous, constantly looking over my shoulder like what are they doing? That's definitely kind of the approach that would feel adequate in like an actual live action. So, yeah.
Yeah. And another group that I might be interested to see how they portray it is the Kyoshi Warriors and the Dai Li. I'm really interested to see how they do the Dai Li. If they actually go with the full story, the Dai Li, they used to piss me off in the show, dude. The Dai Li, man.
They're essentially like the KGB of this world where you're just like, you know, secret police stealing people away in the middle of the night. And it's just like, you know, like as soon as you
and
think
brainwashing
you know
them.
Yeah, as soon as you think you know where like something's going, they just like steal somebody and the person comes back mindless and you're like, okay, you know, that's gonna put a wrench into things. Like you're just like, can these people leave this story alone? But like, seeing that live action will be interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah, I have high hopes. I hope it goes as well as I think it will. Like I said, there's three things they gotta get good. Is just the bending. Honestly, that's the one thing I really want them to get right is just the bending part.
Yeah. If they write Appa and Momo out, I'll be very mad. But again,
I don't think they will.
No,
I don't think they will because I saw the poster and Appa is actually in it.
Okay.
There's Aang where he like I think they're in the South Pole and like Aang's putting his hand out to Appa where Appa's like kind of floating. In the air, so we'll see.
Yeah, it just again, I think the main concern is the bending needs to be like it needs to be passable. It can't be like weird, like I don't know, like it's. And again, I don't want to give any credit to this because I'm so mad. But the live action movie that I keep insisting wasn't real, that was real, but I will again after this pretend is not real. The firebenders not being able to just produce fire. It's just like you can't just change that. Like you can't just be like, you know, like waterbenders need some sorts of water. You know, like it makes sense. Firebenders in the show did not need that, and like just to be like they have to carry around like this fire so that they can do firebend. It's like no, like just try to stick to the actual.
Yeah, it was weird because like, I mean the show made it more sense because like I mean airbenders obviously there's air around us.
Yeah,
Earth we're on Earth.
Yeah,
and then like waterbenders that like Katara got really creative with using water. Like she would steal water out of the plants, or she would use her sweat. Like
she'd carry around like a water pouch with her too that she would do stuff. Yeah, you know, like it made sense.
Yeah. Especially if they were like far away from the water, like she had the ability to like do something. And like obviously firebenders were able to just manipulate, you know, air molecules and create fire. So for them to do that in the movie where they're like carrying around like drums of fire and then they have to use that to like I don't know. Again, that movie does not exist in my world.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. So
yeah.
But anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. But like I said, I have high hopes for the show. Netflix, please, you know, do what you do and make it good. But there's a question I want to ask you before we end it. It was really I just thought about this when I was younger. You know, say you were stayed home from school or you had a day off of school or the weekend. What was like your ideal day off as a kid? Like you're like as a nerdy kid, what was your ideal thing you would do on your day off?
Before I answer that, I do want to say everybody who's listening to this, I'm very interested. If there's, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment, something. I'm actually genuinely curious what other people will say to this because like an ideal day off when you're a nerdy kid varies drastically from person to person.
Yeah.
I might go with kind of a safe bet. So growing up, I was very much into like going out in nature, you know, like there's woods behind my house. I'd like to go out there and like just kind of like go around in the woods, you know, see if I see like deer prints and stuff, just like interesting stuff. But for the most part, going the complete opposite direction, I would just lock myself in a room and just play video games like all day if I could.
Okay.
So
What
like,
was your ideal like gaming snack? Like if you were gonna game all day,
oof,
what would you eat and
oof.
drink?
Mountain Dew is my go-to drink.
Of
My
course.
parents just did not enable habits like that, so like they would never have soda in the house. So like I'd walk to 7-Eleven with my friend when I was like probably like 12 or something. There was a 7-Eleven not too far from us. I get like a Mountain Dew or something. It's where it all began. Uh, snacks is gonna vary because you gotta go if you're doing Mountain Dew and you're like a Call of Duty kind of kid like I was growing
Doritos.
up. Doritos and Mountain Dew was the thing.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't doing Doritos, I always like Pop Tarts too. You know,
Oh,
that's a
okay.
weakness of mine. So
Yeah. That's a good one. Okay. Well, what system would you play? What system was you playing?
Xbox 360 was my big system.
Okay.
So
All right.
having a brother that's 7 years older than me, when I was growing up, we had like a Nintendo 64. We ended up with like a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2, a GameCube, and mostly because he either got it as a present because he was kind of old enough to have this stuff, or when it was like the Wii, the GameCube, stuff like that, we pooled our money together to like get something. We went from PS2 to Xbox 360, and then like all of these games were coming out for Xbox 360, and I think he kind of decided on that. So because I had the 360, I never really got like a PS3, PS4, or anything like that until I got my PS5. So I was just Xbox gaming that whole time because Call of Duty, everything was on there. I was more into playing multiplayer games, so I didn't get into all of like the exclusives that were on the PlayStation. I'm guessing you were a PlayStation kid.
I actually was. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. So yeah, like my ideal. I remember. I was a Mountain Dew kid too. Love Mountain Dew, Doritos.
Yeah.
Played a lot of PlayStation. I also was a Nintendo guy too.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo
had
kid.
Nintendo too. Yeah.
Nintendo kid, PlayStation kid. So like, if I was like wanting to play Call of Duty or something like that, like with my cousins, I would play just PlayStation or play like Uncharted. I was really big into RPGs, so like I just get lost for hours playing RPGs.
See,
like,
and that's where I did wish that I had like a PS3, PS4, because like I got into playing like I'm trying to think like Skyrim, stuff like that when it was coming out. Like I did like RPG games, but there weren't as many exclusives, and the exclusives on PlayStation seemed awesome. So I do feel like I missed out on that.
Yeah. I mean, you can always play the Uncharted series on PS5 now. They have the remastered version, so definitely a good. You have to play, man. It's a not under. I mean, everyone loves Uncharted, but it's definitely a great series that anyone can just pick up now and play.
And I know it's not the same thing, but I was really into Tomb Raider when I got to play some of those.
Oh yeah,
and so the same kind of feel probably to that, like at least story wise. So I definitely do want to kind of get into that at some point.
Yeah, so definitely played Uncharted. I dove deep into Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy Online actually is what I dove really deep into because it was pretty much like World of Warcraft but on the system. Okay. So I always played that a lot. Any of the other adaptations of Final Fantasy, I was really big into fighting. It was either fighting games or RPGs. I was really into, and then it wasn't towards later in my teens where I got into Call of Duty. Yeah. Because I mean, the only reason I got into Call of Duty is because like everyone else was doing it, so it was kind of like a pressure, It
was like me and my best friend always played COD together, so it just kind of was something that I kept up with. It was on the 360. It was definitely like Modern Warfare 1 and 2 were the big ones, when I was into it, and like from there, kind of like got rocky. Black Ops was okay. Ghosts was like, man, just kind of up and downs, but. I definitely know what you mean. It wasn't one of those things where like, I have to play Call of Duty. I have to play the new one. It was like, my friends are playing it, so I should play it. I should get it so I can play with them kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I remember eating like Tostino pizza rolls and like gigabytes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
God, I remember spending hours in the basement, dude. I felt like a recluse all the time. But
and that was me too. My system was set up in the basement, so I was tucked away from everybody else. My dog at the time too would like, I was like in this bedroom that was down like a hallway from the rest of the basement, So my dog would like come in with like a tennis ball or something, and I'd be like playing, and I'd be like, "Hi," throw it down the hallway, and then just keep playing. She comes back, and I'm like, "Hi," throw it down the hallway, just keep. So it's like I could sit there for hours and like feel like I was being productive to some degree, but like definitely wasn't, just wasting time.
It seemed also weird to like say like I stayed home from school, I was sick or something like that, and was able to play. It was definitely weird because like everyone I know was in school, so it's not like I could really play with anyone. And it's always like on your days off when you're playing video games or something like that, the days went by so fast.
Yeah.
Like I would start at like 8, 9 o'clock, start playing games, and all of a sudden I look at my watch and it'd be like 5. I'm like, holy crap, where'd the day go?
So that was one of the things, is like thinking about like a sick day in, I want to say it was like 8th or 9th grade. Maybe it was 8th grade. I played the entire campaign of Halo 3 ODST on Legendary because I was sick at home one day, and I just like it was the weirdest thing because like my mom and dad were always like, you know, go do something productive, kind of, you know, and like they weren't really like, oh, you want to play video games? Sure, go ahead and play video games for hours. Nobody's parents were like that. They were just kind of like, okay, you've been down there too long. I've been down there for 30 minutes. Too long. Go outside, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like whenever they catch you, whenever they think about how long you've been playing games for, that's when they send you out. So like that day, my mom just being like, yeah, just, you know, I'll get you some soup. Just play games as long as you want. You're sick. Just do whatever. And I was like, really? And so I just played this entire campaign on Legendary, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. And then I got done with it, and I was like, that was great. Wait, that's all I did today. I could have done so many other things. Why did I just do that one thing? And I'm like, man, like I should have done this. I should have done that. Like it just goes by too quickly. So
yeah. So I mean, yeah, guys, let us know in the comments, what was your ideal like day off on as a kid? What was your thing? You know, what system did you play? What games were you playing? What was your food and drink of choice?
And to plug the other portion to this podcast, if you're gonna hop on YouTube and watch us play any games, Nerdy Mind Gaming, you definitely got to hit us with some comments on what games you want to see us play, because we'll be playing Phasmophobia, which is a terrifying game, and you'll see me get killed a couple times. You'll see us crying a little bit, getting scared. But if you want to see us play anything else, let us know that too.
Yeah. Obviously, when this comes out on Tuesdays, the episodes of the podcast come on Tuesday, so there's already episodes of us playing Phasmophobia out. The gaming episodes come out on the weekend, so I'm trying to upload a couple videos on the weekend. So like Saturdays, like Jason and I would be playing, or like Sunday might be an episode of just me playing a game. Trying to get into a lot more frequency of uploading things. But yeah, Jason and I played some Phasmophobia together, and it was horrifying for me. You see me run to the truck a lot.
Yeah.
You see Jason just like...
You see me get caught inside because the doors swing shut behind him, and I'm like, Shane, where are you?
I'm in the truck. Keep running. You're fine. And like, so he's usually the more brave one, where he's on the voice box and it's a toss up
of brave or just like stupid, you know, whatever. Like
Jason forgets his flashlight a lot. And the lights go out, and I'm usually gone. I'm usually out.
I'm standing in the middle of a dark cabin in the middle of the woods. Shane's in the truck, and I'm like, I don't know where anything is. And you just hear a ghost running around. And I'm like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. So we're playing a little bit of Phasmophobia. We're getting to some other games too. Leave a suggestion on what you would want us to play. Yeah. You know, what you would think would be fun for us to play. I actually just downloaded a game called Only Up. It's actually a big game that's out right now. I played a little bit of it, and I'm not going to lie to you. The concept of the game, it is easy. Obviously, you just climb and go up. The game is hard. It actually is very hard to play. It's very interesting. It's very frustrating as well. So you'll see me play a little bit of that. I've been playing a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duelist. So I recorded a little bit of that. Maybe we could play some of that sometime. But yeah. Leave a comment on what you would want us to play. So, like I said, the episode of the podcast come out on Tuesdays. Check that out, 5 o'clock. Episodes of the gaming channel come out on the weekends, so check that as well. You can find the podcast. The video version is the Nerdy Mind on YouTube. The gaming channel is the Nerdy Mind Gaming, so keep it all together. So it's pretty easy to find. Audio versions are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many others. So trust me, we're on the platforms. We're out there. Just easier thing to do is just to go on the nerdymind.com, and it's a one-stop shop. You can see all the socials, you can click them, follow, please, and then you can also send you to the podcast hyperlink, so that way you can actually see what streaming services we're on, and then you'll be able to click there and see the podcast on there. But yeah, other than that, Jason, thank you for coming on.
Anytime.
And as always, stay nerdy, my friends.